smoothly by trying to regulate and then try to compromise their economic well-being and even their political power in terms of election of their leaders. And on general note, there is no concrete separation of the three tiers of government to make it look like being a federal system. However, it may appear to be a quasi federal system. However, you recall again that when the military took over by 1966, Nigeria was galvanized into a unitary system of government, which was a part of the problem they suffered until we returned back to democracy. However, if you were able to study the 2014 confab report, you will see that there is already an indication that the nation is not practicing federalism. That what we need is to utilize the opportunity offered by such confab and the reports and recommendations to be able to move Nigeria to a federal system of government. And that is where the problem is. My friend will say that is where the problem was. We were not able to utilize that enormous investment we invested in that confab and then that report to be able to actualize Nigeria. For part of that confab report is the issue of devolution of power. The power at the center is too strong and too heavy to carry other arms of government. And then also the restructuring of the country into the 6 geopolitical zones that will be able to put the nation in terms of regionalism or regionalization, so that each component geopolitical zone will be able to control its resources and be able to develop. However, it appears that the current government is trying to utilize quasi opportunity of it by opening up so-called regional development centers. So from what from everything we've seen or I tried to say, you find out that we have not gotten federalism functioning or working as it's supposed to be, as guaranteed by the Constitution. And that's why most people are now clamoring for review of the Constitution. I think that is an explanation that all things are not yet equal. However, when we reach the bridge, we know how to cross it. Thank you.
Right. Thank you for that response. But aside from the federal system of government, Nigeria keep hampering on leadership and republic issues. Now, we've had about 4 republics since the independence from the first, second, third, and the fourth republic. But then, which of this republic has the semblance of, forward-looking leadership, creativity, development, and can, most organically be successful?
I like that word, organically. And then if you try to apply it organically, you go back to analytic approach, political economy approach to be able to ravel the political situation, the political tendencies, and then the realities on the ground within the context of Nigerian nation we are now discussing. And you find out, you want to know which one has been able to out of the Fourth Republic. Of course, we know the consequences of not adhering to the Constitution, not abiding by the rules, and then not applying responsible and responsive governance. The First Republic collapsed, and the military took over. Then pick 1993, the Second Republic, the Republic under Alhaji Shehu Shagari. You find out that they tried everything possible to give a new look of national ethos and then be able to create a new national value and then be able to move the nation forward. However, it was toppled again, and then by 1993 again, Nigeria marched for, which we hope 93, for a new democracy, and then it was toppled, and what was called the June 12 emerged. Then coming back to 1999 till date, when we assumed what we call the Fourth Republic, and which, as I earlier said, that we are now enjoying the 26th year of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, you'll find out that really federalism is not working. If you want to go back to history, it would have been during the era of Alhaji Shehu Shagari regime that Nigeria were able to do something that looks a bit federal character. However, for now, it is not possible, since the local government is torpedoed by the state government, and the center, the federal government, is manipulating every system to be able to move nation forward in terms of growth and not development. And that's what I'm trying to say, that Nigeria has grown up to age of 65 years. Of course, you know that in civil service, once you are 60 years, you retire. So Nigeria is enjoying about 5 years of retirement as an adult worker. However, those in the university system would retire at 65, judges and the professors retire at 70. So maybe we are looking at Nigeria as of that age that we continue to mature and then be able to actualize nation build. However, there's always room for improvement, and that's why we have expanse of opportunities that tomorrow may be a better day for us to move forward. And that's where hope is lying. And let's say we need to renew our hope, as the Hope 93 couldn't do what function. Let's see whether this renewed hope agenda will move us to promised land. However, the issue of federalism is yet to be accomplished. Thank you.
Now, looking at the Civil War, that was from 1967 to 1970, exposed some cracks in Nigeria's unity. Now, I'd like to get your opinion on how you think that war affected the relationship among federating units, and how is it still affecting Nigeria till this day?
Yes, if you want to underline, if you want to understand such or analyze such a condition, a situation, you place it within the context of nationalism and nation building. Of course, you recall that 1954 Constitution would have been a constitution that was giving Nigeria a better balance of federalism. However, you would also know, if you're a student of history, that most of the regions then were not able to join other regions to be able to move the nation forward. And that's why, instead of getting our independence post Ghana's own, we got it later. And then from realities on the ground after independence, and after even when we became a republic in 1963, the consequences of not adhering strictly to the constitution of that was put for Nigeria to enable it govern itself, to enable it galvanize itself towards development than growth, the military took over. Let's forget about this, what happened during the military era, and then move up to 1979, and then we'll be able to say, where are we now? Well, we have actualized democracy for 26 years. We have actualized nation building, but not that concrete in terms of forging national cohesion that will now propel Nigeria to development. Of course, if you go back to history, you will see that even from the 1945 downwards, that we were not able to produce a leader that will be said that this is a national leader. In terms of what we have in Ghana, we have Kwame Nkrumah. In terms of Julius Nyerere of Tanzania, in terms of Jomo Kenyatta of Kenya, in terms of Indira Gandhi of India, in terms of Napoleon Bonaparte of France, and so many instances. So we are still grappling to showcase who becomes our leader. And we find out our leader, for now, or in the past, we are regionalized in terms of ethnic group, in terms of from where they come from, and then in terms of even at times some of them assume even political and religious leader to be part of ruling the nation. So the nation of now has not built itself in terms of cohesiveness to be able to propagate development and then ensure good governance. Rather, what we have achieved from these regionalized leaders is what I will call regional leaders and then regional growth and not development of the nation. I think that's the point. We are yet to arrive on nation building proper, and then on nation development, and then issue of patriotism also needs to be addressed, because if you have not gotten a formidable nationalist, you will not get a formidable patriots, and that's where the problem is. Everybody is working towards self-acquisition, capital acquisition, self-aggrandizement, and opinions. I think that is it. If Nigerian leaders, if Nigerian rulers or leaders, because I would prefer to call them rulers than leaders, because I have not seen most of the elements we needed the categorization of leadership. Or rather, if you categorize them as leaders, you categorize them as transactional leaders and not transformational leaders. And even in terms of their politics, you characterize their politics in terms of mercantile politics, investment, and gains and profit. And that is the situation. So if we be able to want to raise a nation that will be solely in looking towards developing the nation Nigeria at the 65 from today, we'll be able to see develop a leader, nurture a leader or nurture leadership that will think in terms of transforming the nation and then transforming the people. And that's where issue of good governance will come in. Thank you.